adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have something very exciting for us all. We are going to go on a little bit of a scouting mission around the Hungry Horse Reservoir. Now behind me you can see this is a very large expansive space, and it has 12 additional miles past the dam of paved roads, and then beyond that they have some other roads which we're going to see a little bit of. Now what will we find along the way, and will it be navigatable in a tiny NV200 or a low clearance vehicle? Well, we're about to find out. I'm very excited about sharing this with you, and as always, as you're going along, we'll explore prices of campsites, what amenities they might have, and anything that might be of interest to you guys at home if you're planning a trip up to Montana. So buckle up, get ready, and let's go. First things first, let's look at the map. You can also find a copy of this map online or at the visitor center. However, referencing it online is going to be a little bit more difficult. With AT&T, I personally have 0 bars of cell reception. Now, the overhead look at the lake itself is 23,750 acres of reservoir. And so that is a lot of space to span. Not to mention, if it is completely and totally at tip-top full, it's 3,560 feet of elevation, which gives you a lot of room to play with up here. Now, despite the fact that you can camp on the northern point, today we're focusing on the southern point. The southern point is going to allow us that 12 miles of paved road and then the bumpy roads thereafter. Now, on the northern point, while I am visiting, they're actually doing a little bit of construction, so we're going to do that on a different day, but it should be quite interesting. I've made it to the first pull-off, and let me just tell you, the entire drive just to this section was gorgeous. You get little glimpses of the water kind of off to the left-hand side, and as you do, it's just glistening and so blue. And so you catch it in different kinds of light, even on an overcast day like today, and it's amazing. By the time that I got down to this section, I saw the pull off, and as I pulled off, I could see this giant nest kind of just out in front of me. I was able to go over there and from a distance see this beautiful osprey, and it was amazing. You get this gorgeous overview of this section whenever you pull in right here, and because of that, you can definitely see a few unique things. Now, while I'm here, some of the leaves are starting to change. You can hear birds kind of in the distance, and you can see this small island. And every one of the viewpoints from this section is just, there's no wrong way to see it. We haven't even made it to the first campground yet, and already I'm very impressed with what we're finding. Oh, this is interesting. It's dedicated to the women's clubs. We have made it to Doris Point, which is a boat launch. Here at Doris Point, they do have a day use fee, but it is a fee that is acceptable if you have a Golden Age Access Pass. You actually get a little bit of a discount. Now, they do have people here at the very beginning whenever you come in, but if they're not there, they do have some pay kiosks as well. This is a day use only area, and you can find all of the information about what you need to know in this area. If they have any kind of bear activity, they post it here. Also, they have some pass holders information here, and they have some storage information so that you can understand that you can be a part of the problem if there are bears out here. So this is how you take care of things. Now, just beyond this is the actual boat ramp. Again, this is just a day use area, so it's a nice way for you to get out here and enjoy Hungry Horse. As you can see, there's tons of parking down here for bigger rigs as well as smaller rigs. And I have been granted permission to go down here and check this out for you guys so you can see what it looks like. So we're just gonna drive down and see what the boat ramp looks like, and then we're gonna move on to our next site so I can show you all of the interesting things on this loop. Because again, I think this area is so nice, not only for the history with the dam itself, but also because it's just such a great area to recreate in. So let's get in the van and let's go down here and check it out. Again, a huge expansive space for parking, and all of this is available. So there's so much parking out here because during the summertime especially, this is super popular. So not only do they have the parking here, but because it is a day use area, they have a few additional amenities that you might be interested in. If you're not trying to come out here with a boat, that doesn't mean that you can't find this area to be useful. So as you come back kind of away from the parking, there is a vault toilet way over there, but then they also have these little walk-in areas like this, where you have a picnic table and a fire ring and a lot of space to spread out so you can have a nice picnic. And I think that that's really wonderful because, again, recreating in the outdoors is one of my favorite things, but coming out to places like this and seeing how they facilitate you recreating is a big deal because you want to be able to use the amenities. And this one's a good one because they do have all the things that you need. But one more thing. Down this road right here, they have a non-motorized boat launch. As you can see, you can have any kind of non-motorized boat, and it just comes down this way and down this path, and it takes you all the way to a soft launch area over by the water. I am always looking for ways to share with you guys the beauty of the outdoors and ways you can get out here. And a lot of people enjoy getting out and enjoying water sports. So this is beyond the barrier. So this is where you can actually launch. Anywhere beyond what they call the log jam barrier is a place that you can launch. However, this is a place that is an organized, dedicated place to safely doing so. And so this is a great place. Again, $6 for day use is not bad. $3 if you are a senior, even better. But really great place. And again, tons of offerings here. But this is just the first stop. We have several more to go, so let's keep on going. Now, this particular area splits in two. It takes you down toward the main parking area, or it takes you over to the big boat launch area. So you can have both larger and smaller vessels that you can launch from this particular place. Now, I came here during the week so it wouldn't be as crowded, so we could come out here and really look at things. And I'm so happy that we did because this gives us a beautiful view of everything, and it's gorgeous out here. And oh my goodness, we are greeted with company. Look at this. The launch itself is large and has a small floating dock that helps out quite a bit. And so it makes it very easy for you to get even a larger vessel through this area. And so it's a great place to launch your boats. Hi, are you having some lunch? Fair. I won't bother you, don't worry. Continue. Now again, in this section, they do have a fee station and also a porta potty. And so it's really easy. There's no parking in this area, so you have to drop off and then drive back up to the other parking. But all in all, this is a big win. My little friend is a little nervous with me being here. It looks like we have perfect timing. Somebody is actually pulling into the dock as we speak. But now we're off. Again, you can see this is huge. This is wide and it has a big circular turnaround so you don't have to like back in and back out. And then we're gonna go back up here and out to the main road. We have now made it to the Doris Creek campground. Okay, it appears that this area has beautiful access to the water. And you can see right there, they have a no motorized vehicles area down by the water, so they have private access to the water there, and people can just like pull up their boats and look at that view. We have to go find the kiosk though to find out how much it costs to stay here because the water access would make this quite a hot commodity. This particular site is reserved, but you can see it has a picnic table that's handicap accessible, a fire ring, and a parking bumper. But it also has a bear box, so that's what you're looking forward to if you stay here. Another one, again, a little bit more recessed in here, and you can see all of them have bear boxes, all of them have access to picnic tables, and all of them are forested and look beautiful. But this is what we're really interested in. How much does it cost to stay in a beautiful place like this? Only $18. Oh my gosh, that is such a good price. So yeah, $18. And then it says here also you can do an extra vehicle for $5. And so it just has some good information here. Again, if you're interested in staying in this area, they do have the stay limit, which is 16 days instead of 14. So you can do all of those things, but they also have bear warnings and things so you'll know how to properly store your food. Okay, let me just say this. That is a good deal. He did say it was one of the least expensive ones. It's also a smaller one. It's pretty quiet here. There's not been a lot of bear activity, but they have seen bears out here, so that's interesting to note. But oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. Okay, we made it to the Lost Johnny campground. That's the next one. It appears that the limit here is 16 days also. It's $18 for a single use or $36 for a daily fee site for a double. Again, same thing, lots of information on the kiosk. They do have the drop-off box right here. The campsite itself is going to go down and around this area. So let's take a quick drive through and we'll just see what kind of access this one has, and then we'll move on to the next one. By sharing with you guys the prices as well as the information, I hope that it encourages you guys to come out to these areas because they're, again, gorgeous. They're beautiful national forest campsites, but they do have some improvements. They also do have some primitive areas that you can camp in kind of along the roadways, and they're just pull-offs. You can find a lot of those on iOverlander, or you can just kind of do your own due diligence through Google Maps, and there are places that you can camp for free. However, these are very nice improved campsites, and a lot of these have access to the water, whereas onto the other side of the road where you're seeing those other sites, they don't. So let's get to moving. This is a prime example of these campsites. Again, nice picnic tables, no sags, no drags. We have the bear boxes and a good pull-in. There are also vault toilets here, so that's nice. I will say this one seems to have more openings today, and I'm here on a Friday, so this is a Friday and it's still open. So if you can't find a campsite at the first one, you might continue going forward to see if you can find one as you keep going in deeper to the campsite. It looks as though some of these actually have little shade structures that have been made. That's really neat. Check out this access to the water from this campground. So anywhere in this campground, which is a bit smaller, you can come back to this section and then you can get directly to the water right here. It is a bit of a jump down there, but there are several paths that take you down. But again, you really can't go wrong with this no matter where you are. So this is beautiful. When you're coming out to campsites like this, it's about the recreation in the outdoors. It is about being here with nature and being in the moment. And I think that that's what makes these type of places incredible. Normally you pay a premium for having this much access to water, but here it seems to be very feasible and affordable to do so. So I am more than impressed. There is a little trail that goes over kind of this way toward the water's edge. So if you're staying here, you can have access to that. Now, this area, despite being a very large area to turn around in, there are no parking signs. Again, I have permission to be at the campgrounds independently. I've been asking each place. I couldn't ask somebody here because nobody was outside, but everybody's been saying yes so that you guys can have this information. So I'm just kind of here for a second and then moving on, not taking advantage. But look at this. This is huge. This is perfect. And the water is incredible, and you have the mountains that you can view in the distance also. I would say that this would rank up there if it was me looking for a campsite and I was wanting a paid campsite. Now, with that, of course, there's ebbs and flows. I have zero cell service here with AT&T. You might have it with Verizon or T-Mobile, but with AT&T, I am not having the best of times. There are some open sky areas that would work well within each of the campsites for Starlink. However, it could still be slim pickings out here, but with a backyard like this, I'm not going to complain about that. Okay, and now we're leaving Lost Johnny and we're off to see what's next. Okay, just beyond that, we have some super awesome creek access and yet another pull-off right here. So let's go and check out this creek. I could hear it whenever I was leaving Lost Johnny because Lost Johnny is literally right up there. But, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, totally worth it. And this again is just perfect. It looks like there's a beaver dam down this way though. That is wild. We can come down this way. And there it is. So that was just a quick stop, but now we're going back to the van to see what else is down this road. This road has been filled with adventures thus far. And not only that, I can hear tons of birds. I've seen lots of chipmunks and squirrels, that deer, and well, I know that they have both moose and bear on this road, so we're gonna hope we don't see those, but man, it's beautiful. Even on an overcast day, again, you get to see all of the colors of the forest, and it's much more vibrant in person than it is on the video. It's hard to show you what the eyes can actually see. But it's great here, and as you can see, tons of people come out here to recreate. So if you are wanting to come out here and recreate, especially during the busier time of the year, the summertime, make sure that you arrive early and you have a little patience because it is kind of harder sometimes, especially later in the afternoon, evening, to find spots because these fill in very quickly. Now, just for reference, on our little handheld map here, we have only gone to here. This entire section is what is explorable. So there's so many things on this section. We are now at the Lost Johnny Point campground, and this one's a little bit different. This one's $22 a night or $44 for a double. And so the campsites are going to be set up a little bit different, but it has the same 16 days and the same information on the kiosk. Now this one has an indicator if the campground is full, which right now it currently is. So as we're kind of going around, you can see the difference between each style of campground. Now this one is paved all the way around, it appears. So that's really nice because that's a little bit different than the others that we've been to thus far. So that's one of the upgrades and improvements. I have a little bit of information here for education about the diseased trees and how they're part of the natural forest. So you have some interpretive signs at this one as well. So that's kind of what sets it apart. Now it does have a cool historic photo here. You can see the campground shortly after it was constructed in the early 1960s. And you can see it does have water access. Now because it is full right now, I'm not going to go around and show you too much, but you do have a camp host right here. And then again, everything is paved going in, and you can see they do have actual parking places as well as vault toilets. Normally, if I go to a campsite and I see that it's completely full, I don't want to encroach upon that space because it is filled, and I don't want to be in the middle of people's things. Now, if there's an opening or an occupancy available, then I will go in to show you what the campsites themselves look like. But because of this, I don't want to intrude. So just kind of giving you those slight upgrades. You can find out a little bit more about this one if you're interested. Now, for now though, we're going to turn around. We're going to head back to the road and see what's next. After driving a short distance, I noticed that there was a small road here that turns off of the main road toward the left-hand side. And I noticed the fire rings out here. And so I was not able to look this up because again, I don't have service, but it appears that someone has been camping here. In fact, this doesn't appear to be the only spot that's in this section that you can camp in. So this is, again, national forest. So this is a pull-off that you could stay at. Now, from here, I can see the dense forest, but I can't really see the water, but it is a very nice forest campsite. Now, it does have just a little road that goes through. There are no camping signs here. I have seen at some of the other pull-offs that they have indicated if it is trailhead, there's no camping. However, this one doesn't appear to have that. I'm gonna keep looking, but as of right now, it does not. So just for reference, let's take a little drive through this. You can see this is several van lengths. There appears to be another fire ring right there. And then it keeps going in this direction. The forest in this section is pretty dense, like I mentioned. It would be very hard to get down to the water from here, although it does look like there is a little path right over here where some of the vegetation has kind of been tromped down, going down that way. But otherwise, this isn't really a water access point, but it's definitely beautiful. On days like today, you never know unless you go, and that's what I always say. So I definitely live by that. I just kind of get out and I start exploring, and the more I explore, the more that I find. So we'll see if this is anything. It may be nothing. It could be something super cool. Definitely looks like we're at the end of the line here. It just kind of rounds out, so this would make a great place to turn around. There's a fire ring. There's a couple of little like offshoots, but it doesn't seem to go anywhere productive. There's also a small trail that cuts through here. It is definitely not an official marked trail on like all trails or anything, but this would be a great place. And again, I think that I would definitely stay here. It seems pretty quiet. Possibly some bears. Definitely possibly some bears. I have seen some scat kind of around that indicates possibly some bears. Okay, we made it to the Lid Creek campground. Okay, up on first glance of Lid Creek, you can see they have picnic tables and little parking bumpers, and then they have fire rings. Each site is set up a little bit differently, just like before. It just kind of works with the natural terrain, and you have this beautiful forest all around. And the roadway in is nice and wide, so that's nice. And right over here we have our kiosk. Okay, it looks as though this one is 18, and then if you do have your golden age pass, you can get it for 9, which is super nice. We do have some firewood available at the host site, which is the first one you see when you come in, and they do have the fee envelopes here as well. All of these out here have been a 16-day stay, which is very nice. It's kind of uncommon. Normally it's 14, but that gives you a little extra time. Additionally though, I did notice that they have visitor comment cards here. So if you've come here and you have any feedback, if they have any of these in here, then fill out one, and that way that helps them to continue to improve. Now it is pretty interesting because you get to learn all of this at the beginning, but then also as you go around, you'll see they do have trash cans that have locking things so that it keeps you nice and safe from the bears. Now something different about this one is instead of having bear boxes at every campsite, they kind of share bear boxes in between the campsites, so that's kind of cool. I really like this one. It's slightly elevated, and so you have all of this kind of up on a hill from the roadway. And this one's a great example of the bear box in connection with the actual campsite itself. You can see the campsite is nice and expansive, so there's plenty of room if you did have 2 vehicles to pull in. Now there is a $5 extra car fee here too. So like for example, in my case, if I was camping with like Riley, we would have to pay the $18 plus an additional $5 extra car fee, which is fine. Or we could get a double occupancy. If we did that, it's not that much more expensive. So it's actually pretty cool either way. But this campsite is gorgeous, and some of the sites do have views of the water. I'm kind of just working my way around. There's a lot of people camping right now. So again, I try to respect them as much as possible, but it's so nice. Like you can see right through the forest, there's the water right there. Now the camp host did tell me that this is the last of the manned campsites on this roadway. So if you are interested in staying where you feel a little bit more comfortable because there's a camp host present, then this would be your last stop. However, he did say there's tons of other camping beyond this section. So it's a really nice area to come to and then just kind of, again, recreate. But it does give you that option of having that little bit of safety and comfort, which I think is really nice. And a lot of people truly enjoy that, especially if you're staying out in bear country, because you get more real-time updates if there's any spottings. So it's been really cool just coming through here and seeing this campsite. It's a nice size campsite. There's tons of good sites along this way, and all of them have a great situation with the forest, I will say. So definitely one to also consider with that price point. With that, we have made it to the portion where the pavement ends. Now, can you stay beyond the pavement? Yeah, there's tons of camping back down that way. But if you're interested in just something that is easy to access, today's video should be a little bit more helpful. There's a couple of other campsites that were along the way also, but the drive-in was pretty bumpy, so I wanted to leave it toward more things like this that anyone could get to. These prices are insane. $18 to $22 is so good, especially considering the nature that you are around. While I've been out today, I have been observing beauty in every direction and just kind of sharing pieces of it with you. But again, I think you would really enjoy this. We'll go exploring a little bit deeper into this section or over onto the northern section on an upcoming video, so you can see what to expect beyond this. But for today, I have truly appreciated getting to take you along for this beautiful scenic drive. Remember guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. Plan a vacation in a place that you might not have been to. Take a trip to a place that might be something that you thought might be hard, and try out new things. If worst comes to worst, just go on a drive and inspect the campsites around you to find what's available so that you can have a better understanding, because I think that's the biggest thing so many of us forget to do. We go with what we know, and sometimes that's wonderful, but other times we might be missing out on a hidden gem. Till next time, bye!